In November of last year, I was able to buy the pirate ship ambush of a friend of mine. In total, I paid about $140, which is a lot of money. So today I'm going to show you the minifigs, the build, and determine whether I've made a grave mistake by buying this set or if it's a great addition to the collection. Many people reminisce about the golden age of LEGO Lord of the Rings from 2012 to 2013. Even though we have gotten a few Lord of the Rings sets since, we return to that era with the 79008, the pirate ship ambush. Released as one of the last Lord of the Rings sets in 2013, this set helped cap off one of LEGO's best themes ever. Fittingly, it's based on the last, often considered to be the best Lord of the Rings movie, The Return of the King. The retail price of the set sits at a solid $100, which comes out to about $135 when adjusted for inflation. That is quite a bit, even if it's significantly lower than the current aftermarket price of $220 in used or $300 in new condition. At least with the price also comes the spot of the 6th biggest Lord of the Rings set at a piece count of 756 pieces. That is still a lot of money though for a pretty average piece count. But making a great point for the set's value is the massive number of figures, which we'll look at now to determine whether the quality matches the quantity. Now this set comes with 9 figures, which is unheard of nowadays for a retail price of $100. They've been getting better as of late, but few sets provide you with so many vital characters. Gondor's king himself, for example, here in a less royal outfit appears in this set. Immediately we're greeted by some strongly welcomed leg printing. It's nothing crazy, but it does its job of extending his coat all the way to his knees, aided by the hips. Nowadays I'd hope they'd use dual molded legs, but as a product of its time, especially with its wonderful printed color, it's a great piece. The torso's brilliant as well, adding even such small details as seams on his shirt, but the highlight is definitely his necklace. It's not just quite accurate, but the silver also brings some more color into the whole thing. Of course, there's some wrinkles on the back as well, and now we'll get to the face.
And I gotta tell you, it was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
They just smash it out of the park with Aragorn every time. The beard, the stubble, the wrinkles, the eyebrows. Perfection. The alternative face is great as well, and I can't really complain about the hair either. As one of Aragorn's best friends, we also get Legolas in this set. We have actually gotten an upgraded version of this figure in 2023's Rivendell, but I gotta say, this figure still holds up. Obviously, we have no beautiful dual molded legs here, but the quality of the printed colors really doesn't leave anything to be desired. His coat and undershirt transition from the upper part of his legs to the torso, where we are met by some wonderfully detailed printing. The straps and silver detailing really add a lot to this figure and make it look amazing even 11 years later. In my opinion, the normal as well as his alternative, angrier face make him look a little too old, but it's still nothing too bad yet. On a positive though, I gotta say I prefer this elven hairpiece to the newer one. I don't know why, but things like this braided part right here are pretty neat, even if the piece covers all the additional printing on his back. Speaking of covered printing, let's look at the king of that phenomenon, Gimli. As the last member of the big three, it's fantastic to get him in this set as well. Since he's a dwarf, LEGO of course used short legs. Nowadays they have resorted to using mid legs on dwarfs, which I personally prefer, but either way we're not getting any printing on them. Now, I would like to say frankly anything about the torso, but it's literally all covered by his beard, except maybe these few bronze highlights right here. But hey, at least the beard is dope, and the reddish brown is also the perfect color in my opinion. The only visible torso detailing is found on the back, which is only partly covered by the braid, but I gotta say I'm not the biggest fan of the red base. In my opinion, the newest version's colors work a lot better together. The face is also pretty much invisible, only showing his eyes and a bit of his eyebrows. There is a second alternative face, but you're not really seeing a difference if we're being honest. The helmet though is incredible, mixing brown and bronze, further supported by smaller molded details seen right here on the back. While I think the new one blows this one out of the water, it's still a good figure with an amazing helmet. Speaking of amazing, our next figure is the King of the Dead. Not only do we have some great leg printing depicting the chainmail, but it's made even better by the additional hip printing. The torso continues being brilliant, having the king's chest bones as its focal point, supported by smaller highlights like the belt or the rope. Being able to see the rest of his chainmail through his bones is so neat as well, and the piece also does a great job in introducing some dark red, which together with the cape helps set this one apart from the other dead figures in this set. The helmet also differs from the others and does have more of a regal flair, almost looking like a crown. Underneath there's a rotten head with an alternative face that may perhaps be one of the best face prints I've ever seen. In addition to that, the head also glows. It's a great feature to add to their ghost-like appearance, which isn't as present with these figures otherwise. The soldiers of the dead use the same legs as their king, which isn't a problem seeing as their armors aren't that dissimilar. As mentioned previously, we don't have that spurt of dark red here. The torso's great nonetheless though. It's extremely detailed and the different shades of green create a nice look. Helmet and cape also set this figure apart from the leader, narrowing the color scheme down to a purely green one. Underneath the helmet we find another glowing head with a glorious mustache. We have an alternative face as well, but I'll showcase that on the second soldier of the dead. You can see the second soldier's mouth is a little more messed up, missing teeth and having a hole in his cheek. Both soldiers' heads come with both faces though, so if you want both of them donning the mustache, you can do that too. Now what surprised me the most is that the second figure does not come with the same torso as the first. That level of dedication blows me away, and I gotta say I actually like this torso more than the other, featuring an additional belt, more chainmail and a coat as well. Then we have our first bad guy, the Pirate of Umbar. Leg printing would have been pretty nice here, especially because the torso is so detailed. It's got one of the most unique color schemes ever, combining grey, brown and bronze, and one might even say it's wasted on such a minor character. The printing continues on the back, even though most of it is covered by the hair. The hair is decent and works for the character's look from the movie, but the highlight is definitely the face. I love the grey and black beard, and all the details like the piercing or the tattoos add a lot to it. And fun fact for the end, this character was actually played by Peter Jackson himself. The penultimate figure for today is an orc, once again missing any leg printing, which would have been beneficial, but not having it is still tolerable. I think the torso is pretty good, but honestly it's nothing that will blow me away. At least we do have some back printing, which brings us to the head now. My one here is a little damaged, but it's decent nonetheless and conveys the orc's general roughness fairly well. Lastly, we have the second orc, which is the exact same as the first, only with an added chest piece. It would have definitely needed some printing, because this way it just looks very plain, but it gives him some of that physicality that orcs typically have, and we're missing with the first one. So the figures are amazing and exceed anything I would hope for with a set this size. The question now is though, can the build keep up? The brick build part of the set consists of a small catapult and of course the big pirate ship. In the movie, this ship doesn't appear that much, but it does play a vital role as it delivers the dead man of Dunharrow to the Battle of Pelennor Fields. Now this set is pretty big, bigger than I expected to be honest, but maybe I also didn't expect enough of a $100 set. From the very back to the very front, this set measures 58 centimeters. It's 15 centimeters wide and at its tallest point reaches a height of 35 centimeters. That is quite substantial, but also opens up the door for a lot of empty space on the ship, which wouldn't be beneficial to its look at all. We'll get to that more wearing area in a second, but let's start by looking at the very front. Below the actual deck, we have this long spike. I researched for a bit, but I could neither find what this was supposed to be, nor could I find it in any image about the actual ships from the movie. It could be a bulbous bow, but I'm not sure about that. Looks pretty neat though, so I won't complain, and above it we have the bowsprit of the ship. Sadly, it's kind of boring, but it does connect to the first of the big three sails, which we'll look at in a bit. For the sake of visibility, I've taken off the sails for now, just so we can probably look at all the care that went into this build. As you can see, right in front of the mast is this wheel. Now, if you know anything about ships, you might have already recognized this as a capstan. This is used to pull up an anchor, and that is also the very purpose it serves here. When we start to turn it, you can already watch the chains around it move, and if we look below the build, you'll be able to spot not just one, but two anchors start to lower. Around the bow, there's also these two lines of 3 shields each, which add some non-brick build detailing that is always great to have when printed. Moving along the side of the ship, we find a kind of odd looking wing. When I first saw it, I was confused as well, but it's accurate to the look of the ships in the movie. Right next to it, we find a ballista. These are on both sides and really can't be missed when you watch those very few scenes from Return of the King. Here, they aren't just present for accuracy, but also to add another play feature. You can put Aragorn on one of the orcs here and then shoot at whoever's standing in front of the ship. Sadly, the shots won't be that great because spring shooters weren't introduced until a year later, meaning you have to deal with flick-fire missiles. Going a little further, we have these spikes here as well as smaller crossbows, which can be armed by your figures as well. Now jumping onto the actual ship and speaking on the area I was worried about earlier, I can immediately say my worries thankfully weren't fulfilled. There's so much going on here that only very few open spaces pop up, which are needed for figures and similar things. Right behind the mast here, we have a small weapons rack. Due to the way it was built, it's pretty easy to take off to, I don't know, equip some other figures maybe? When putting it back, we can immediately spot some of these barrels over here, providing us with a bit more ammo for the ballistas, as well as these planks lying around. They just add a bit more detail and make the ship look more used, akin to what most pirate ships used to look like. We also have a little chest, actually containing 2 maps of Middle-earth, which are sadly stickered pieces, and surrounding that chest are these 2 chains. They just look kinda dope and connect to the back of the ship, more specifically the jail cell below the quarterdeck. The entrance is one of the normal jail doors, and if you want to get a good look inside, you can actually just take off the whole deck here and see the interior. There truly isn't a whole lot going on, but you have a little bucket, a rat, as well as some carvings into the back of the ship represented by a sticker. The quarterdeck really is small, only offering space for another, smaller sail, 2 torches, and a helm, or the steering wheel. To be honest, I don't think it needs that much more space, especially because it looks pretty cool already, with the shield surrounding it and these 2 weird upside down wings on the back that aren't accurate to the movies whatsoever. Now it's time to look at the sails, and simply put, they look amazing. From this side. They are shaped very uniquely and definitely hold some recognition value, especially with the additional printing. The problem arises when you turn the build around, and it's really my only problem with the build, but we're not just exposed to these slender masts, there's only no more printing on the sails. I don't know how they should have done this, to be honest. Maybe having a sail on each side would have been the way to go, so, but I truly don't know. If you display it from this side though, you can't see it and it truly seems like a flawless build. That leaves us with this little catapult side build. It's truly nothing that'll blow you out of the water, yet it works very well as a side gimmick to the set. It's got little wheels to push around and it actually fires quite far thanks to the long arm. There's even some sticker detail, but as mentioned, it's just a side piece here. So the build is absolutely on par with the figures, which only leaves us with the question, was this set worth it? The original retail price of this set was $100, coming out to around 135 USD nowadays. I paid about that much for the set myself and I can confidently say I don't regret it. The build far exceeded my expectations. I expected it to be a lot smaller and really it just delivers on everything I could have asked from it. Same thing with the figures, which don't just perform in the numbers but also in their quality, easily keeping up with the current state of minifigs. So I don't regret it one bit. Would I recommend it at a price point of $200 to $300? Probably not, but that is up to you. If you find yourself saying though, I wish for some more Lord of the Rings content, click on this video right here about Rivendell or check out this playlist of me solely talking about LEGO Lord of the Rings. Anyways though, I hope you enjoyed today's video and until next time, goodbye.